Hey Astro Kids, and welcome back. And this is your horoscope for the lunar eclipse here in the sign of Taurus coming up here on November 19th. Let's go ahead and jump right into this. So, to start off here, we have to understand what is a lunar eclipse. Now, a lunar eclipse always takes place during a full moon. However, it is very different from our normal full moon. The full moon takes place when the sun and the moon sit opposite to one another. And this is normally a time of releasing, of abundance, of completion. But as we come into a lunar eclipse, we have an added effect that is happening due to the nodal axis. When there is a full moon, Ketu and Rahu, our south and north lunar nodes, get involved in this. And those of you who are familiar with Vedic astrology know that these nodes of Ketu and Rahu are shadowy or illusionary planets. And so as we come into this lunar eclipse, this is a period of darkness as Ketu or Rahu comes in to cover up the moon during this time, creating this darkness, this absence of light. And so this is definitely a time that is where our consciousness is not in focus. As we come into this lunar eclipse, there are lots of unexpected events happening that are out of our control, that are out of our consciousness. There's a lot that is happening from behind the scenes, a lot that is happening that is completely outside of our control as individuals. And so as we come through this lunar eclipse, it is always a time where any sort of contracts or deals or anything that you're doing that is new is not recommended, because this is a time where this energy of Ketu and Rahu, these are planets that definitely can bring some unexpected changes coming into this. As we know, these are karmic planets. Ketu is the original planet that is the co-ruler of Scorpio. And Scorpio is a sign that is all about extremes, ups and downs, these sudden changes and events happening throughout our lives, as Scorpio is the natural 8th house of the zodiac. So as you know, the 8th house of anyone's chart is going to be a area in which a person experiences these sudden events and changes within our lives. It is a house that is related to crisis and sudden transformations. And so this energy of Ketu especially is definitely an energy that causes some sudden events to take place. On the opposite end of that, Rahu is also a planet that can bring in sudden events, as well as Rahu is also the co-ruler of Aquarius. So these are our two karmic planets of Aquarius and Scorpio. And if you want to know more about that, I did put up videos on the karmic implications of Aquarius and Scorpio. I will leave the links for those videos above so that you can check that out. But these are heavily karmic planets that are coming into the mix here with Rahu and Ketu. These are shadowy bodies that are all about our karmic implications. Ketu dealing more with the past life and the things that we know instinctually, and even the spiritual knowledge, the things that are non-tangible. And Rahu is heavily involved here in this material plane, in what is known as the Maya, or the illusion, which is all about the glitz, the glamour, the money, the fame, all of the things that we want here in this physical material world. And so Rahu spins deception, illusion, and it drives our wildest desires in this reality. And so these two energies of Ketu and Rahu are all about these sudden events. It is all about the illusionary factors of life, the things that are completely outside of our consciousness. And especially with this Rahu energy, it is all about moving towards our desires. And so Rahu is a very strategic and calculated sign that knows how to get towards the things that you want in life. It is actually considered a trickster or a magician in astrology, because it is a planet that can bring us some of the things that we want in our lives that we think is completely impossible or outside of our comfort zone. Rahu definitely is, though, a planet that drives with ego instead of with true intelligence. This energy of Rahu is all about what we want, what we desire, what we crave, what we obsess about, and even what we are afraid of. Ketu, on the other hand, is, of course, an invisible planet that does not follow the rules. And this is one of the big things about these two shadowy planets, is that it does not follow the rules of this material plane. Rahu does not follow any rules at all, so it is completely spontaneous and unexpected in the things that it does. K2 does follow spiritual rules and is in accordance with God and the universe. However, it still does not follow societal expectations. So these planets are completely chaotic. They are completely spontaneous and unpredictable in the things that they do. And because of this involvement of our two lights, our consciousness of the sun and the moon getting eclipsed in this Ketu Rahu axis during this eclipse season, this is a major time of these unexpected and chaotic events that can stir up. And mainly, as this is a lunar eclipse, and the full moon, which is connected to the lunar eclipse, is all about endings, completion, letting go. This is definitely going to be a time where anything that needs to be released, that needs to be let go of, that no longer serves you, is going to be dramatically changed without your control. And so that is a major theme as we get closer to this lunar eclipse. And so this is why I come to you 10 days earlier than the actual eclipse itself, to give you this message to prepare yourself for this very transformative experience of going through this eclipse season. And this is an eclipse season that will happen here throughout the winter months. We will see a solar eclipse that will also take place during this eclipse season that will happen in December. We'll talk more about that as we get closer. But this will mainly focus on this lunar eclipse that will take place here in the sign of Taurus. Now, because this is a lunar eclipse taking place in the sign of Taurus, this tells us that Rahu is the planet that is actually going to be heavily involved in this eclipse, as Rahu has been sitting here in Taurus since last year when it entered in on September of 2020. So this has been a major event that has been taking us through these very interesting transformative times. And as many of you know, we went through this pandemic event. We are still going through this collectively, but it all started back when the nodal axis was actually in Gemini and Sagittarius, when we went through the Ardra Nakshatra there with Rahu. As we've come into this axis of Taurus and Scorpio, this has been all about moving towards stability, moving towards true value and worth, right? That axis of Scorpio and Taurus is actually connected to our 2nd and 8th houses of our zodiac, which is all about the things that we value, the things that we possess. And in particular, that 8th house of the chart is connected to the things that we possess within a relationship, as it is the 2nd house to the 7th house of partnership. The 2nd house itself is our personal possessions, the things that we value within ourselves. And so this axis has been all about moving towards the things that bring us stability, that bring us security, that bring us comfort. But there's also an illusionary factor to that with Rahu being in Taurus, because Taurus is definitely considered a sign that is difficult in terms of our dharmic purpose and moving towards things on a spiritual level, as it is heavily influenced by the material plane. It is a Venus-controlled sign that is very much an earth sign and a fixed sign at that. So Taurus likes to stay in what is comfortable and what is fun, what is enjoyable in life. And because of that, it sort of takes us off course from our purpose and our journey when you get too much into that materialistic desire of Taurus. And so Rahu is spinning its illusion, its deception of getting us too heavily involved into this materialistic pursuit. And that is taking away from the actual joy or the heartfelt meaning behind life, which is on the opposite end where Scorpio is. Scorpio is that passion, that intensity, that emotional feeling, that ability to connect, to be intimate. And so it really is taking us away from this true connection or this true soul connection that we have there with that Scorpio energy, where there's a lot that has to be looked at on a soul level, that has to be looked at internally, spiritually, and there's a lot there that needs to be transformed and worked through internally. This has been the major theme here as we've been sitting here on this axis of Taurus and Scorpio. And this pandemic has definitely been a great opportunity for many of us to go inward and to connect on that soul level with that K2 Scorpio placement. It has also been a time where many people have been very much worried about their financial security as well. Rahu is definitely a planet that can spin fear, that can spin worrying, that can spin obsession, where it is very much a planet that likes to wrap itself around things and to create this illusionary factor. As we know, the height of Rahu is actually in the nakshatra of Shatabhasha, which is symbolized by an empty circle, which is this circle of protection, or this circle that keeps things out or enclosed. And so it is very much about secrets, fear, protection, keeping within this bubble of your desires and the things that you are focused on, coming from this place of fear and ego. And so that is definitely the shadow side of Rahu, is this fear mongering of moving towards something for the sake of this insecurity that we feel internally. And Scorpio is definitely highlighting those insecurities heavily on the opposite end in that K2 placement, where there's a lot of deep emotions and a lot of chaotic and uncontrolled situations that are coming into our awareness at a deeper level. Remembering that Scorpio is, again, all about those sudden ups and downs, those events that transform us at a deep emotional, psychological level. So a lot of this is coming up to the surface, where there is a theme of truth and a theme of fact and what is truly reality, what is truly meaningful, and what is just kind of superficial and a surface level thing that we are drawn to based upon our fears and insecurities. A lot of that coming up, and especially during this lunar eclipse, as this is going to take place in the nakshatra of Krittika. So we have to understand what this Krittika nakshatra is all about. Krittika is known as the star of fire, and this is a nakshatra that is symbolized by a sharp blade. So it is all about cutting through the impurities. It is actually said to have the power to remove impurities. And so this nakshatra of Krittika is a very intense nakshatra. It is all about getting straight to the point. It is all about cutting through the nonsense of seeing things clearly, of being very detailed and analytical, very critical, and very much organized and just straightforward in that approach of seeing things in more of a rational way. Krittika is definitely controlled by the sun, which gives this clarity, this focus, this stability. The sun is the giver of life, and it is one of the most stable of all our planets. So this is giving this strong clarity, this strong focus, this ability to see things clearly and to be able to cut through the things that no longer serve us. So there are some hard truths coming up at this time as we're shifting through this Krittika nakshatra. Now, Krittika is in the sign of Taurus, and it is primarily in the sign of Taurus, but we have one little section there that takes place in the sign of Aries. So you might also want to check the part of your chart that is dealing with the sign of Aries as well. But this energy is heavily about what is practical, about what makes sense, which is heavily connected to the sign of Taurus. Those who have strong Taurus placements are very rational, very materialistic, very much rooted in the physical and the things that are tangible, the things that make sense, the things that you can rationalize. And so this energy of Krittika is very much this rational, straightforward energy of getting to the things that make sense, getting to the things that work, and cutting through the nonsense, cutting through the confusion, cutting through the distractions, getting straight to the point with this sharp blade, this cutting edge. So this is very strong here. This can also be a nakshatra that is connected to violence, as it is ruled by the deity of Krittika, which is the god that is connected to fires and wars, violence. So this is a nakshatra that also can create some anger and tension and can potentially stir up some violence or chaos as well, especially as this is a lunar eclipse where we see a lot of unexpected events that can take place. So this can be a very extreme time as we step into this lunar eclipse also. This is a strong moment as we come into this very fiery, intense nakshatra where we need to look straight at the truth. We need to get around these areas where we're procrastinating or where we're confused or where we're not seeing things clearly and start to make sense of things. Start to see where these areas are going to be things that need to be removed, that need to be things that need to be cleared out of our lives. And for many of you, this is a process that should start now before this eclipse happens. Because as we step into this eclipse season, there's a lot of truth that is coming up, and there's a lot that is going to be removed out of your way that no longer serves you. So these harsh truths of Krittika are actually coming to the surface through this eclipse. And this is especially a time as we will see the solar eclipse even happening in the nakshatra of Jyotisha, that there's a lot of intensity in this whole winter eclipse season where there's a lot that is really coming to the surface in terms of the truth, the details, the facts, the things that are really going on, and sort of clearing out this confusion or this distraction that is going on at the same time. Now, let's take a closer look at this to see if there are any aspects or anything that is involved here. Now, as I mentioned before, this will be the moon that is in a conjunction here with Rahu. The sun will be on the opposite end in a conjunction with Ketu. And so this is definitely a time where the light is especially blocked out here. As the sun and Ketu get together, there's a huge focus on spirituality, on going inward, on finding the truth. And even especially with this Ketu happening in Scorpio, which is all about investigation, digging deeper, finding the deeper knowledge that is below the surface. So there's a huge focus here on looking inward and finding your truth. And this is taking us towards this Rahu moon that sits here in Krittika, all about the precision, the details, the conciseness of getting to the truth, getting to the point. This is a huge theme of this nakshatra where there's a lot that is getting purified and cleansed out that no longer serve us. So this harshness of this blade, this sharp edge of getting straight to the point becomes a huge theme here. And on the opposite end of this, we will see Mercury in a conjunction. Now, this is an out of sign conjunction as Mercury will be in the sign of Libra, but still in this nakshatra where we find Ketu at. So this is creating a very close conjunction here with Mercury coming into the picture. And as Mercury comes into this conjunction with Ketu, which sits here with the sun, this is very interesting as Mercury is a planet that is more rational, that is more logical, that is more so focused on the details and the things that make sense in the tangible world, right? All of this, the Mercury energy, the Venus energy, the Rahu energy, these are all friends. These are all about the things that are realistic and tangible in this material plane. But as Mercury comes into this conjunction here, this is definitely putting a huge focus on looking inward, on finding the inner truth, the deeper meaning, the deeper purpose behind everything. And this is very intense with this energy of really getting straight to the truth, finding your true purpose, as Mercury will be sitting here in Vishaka, which is all about your purpose. Where are you headed? Vishaka is the branched one. It is all about branching out into all these different directions. And so it's a strong need there to find the path, to find the direction that you are moving into. And this is happening at a soul level as this comes into a conjunction with Ketu, where there's a lot that needs to be explored internally at a spiritual level, looking at your natural gifts and talents, looking at your true purpose, your soul calling, which you're feeling internally. And a lot of this is coming to the surface through this lunar eclipse. Also, with Mercury coming into this conjunction with Ketu, this can increase, again, a lot of chaos, a lot of violence, a lot of unexpected things, as Mercury is a planet that is very quick moving. Mercury is in one place and then it is in the next. And this K2 energy on its own is very passionate. It is very intense. K2 is akin to Mars. So let's think about this energy of Mars in K2, where it is very destructive, it is very intense, it's very aggressive, it has a lot of passion, a lot of combustible energy. And so we're putting this energy of Mercury that is heavily changeable, that is heavily quick and flighty, and coming into this conjunction here with K2, which is more of a fiery, combustible energy. So this definitely can bring about a lot of frustration, a lot of anxiety, a lot of mental anguish that is happening here, where there can be a lot of aggression and intensity at this time. Now, this lunar eclipse will also take place in the second pada or second quarter of Krittika, which is a Capricorn ruled pada. So this is a Capricorn Navamsa that we are seeing this lunar eclipse take place in. And this puts a strong focus on the world, on the collective, on the social spheres of our environment, as Capricorn is that natural 10th house. It is connected to the world collectively. And so this definitely is putting a huge spotlight on worldly issues as we step into this lunar eclipse. Huge focus that is centered around the agitation, the frustration of many people here in the world who are angry at the government. Capricorn also is controlling authority and government as it sits up top where the sun reaches its highest peak. And so this is definitely putting a huge spotlight on governmental issues, on issues that are coming up with the frustration towards the government and the systems and how the whole infrastructure of our society works with this intense focus here with Krittika. And so once again, this is definitely a time to be cautious where the anger, where the frustration, where the agitation levels can be very high through this fiery, intense nakshatra of Krittika. So starting off here, for those of you with an Aries moon or Aries ascendant, this will be a partial lunar eclipse taking place here in your second house. And so this is putting a huge focus on your finances, on your resources, on your family, on your personal values, on your tradition, your roots, as it comes here into this second house. This especially can be a time of looking at the areas that are involving partnerships and any sort of shared resources, as well as we have this Sun Mercury K2 combo on the opposite end there in your 8th house. So this is putting a huge focus on your security houses overall, where you can see some shifts and changes taking place dramatically in areas where you need to take changes for the betterment of your security, especially in this area of shared resources. This can also be a time where any sort of intimate connections, anything that has to do with connecting internally within your relationships, any sort of connections, even with in-laws, can have some huge impact at this time, where there's a lot that is centered here around finding your true worth, your true security in a lot of areas where you may have been neglecting yourself and putting a huge focus on others as well. So we see these very dramatic shifts and changes happening here with your values, with your security, with the things that you hold on to personally. Hey Aries Moon and Aries Ascendant, and thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this, feel free to leave a like as well as a comment. If you are new to this channel, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, and I will see you all in the next video. For those of you with a Taurus Moon or Taurus Ascendant, this will be a partial lunar eclipse taking place in your 1st house. And so this definitely can be a time of dramatic shifts within yourself as an individual. And this can have a profound effect on your relationships as well, as we have that K2 Sun Mercury combo in the 7th house, where all of these shifts that are happening within you are also affecting your relationships and connections. Many of you are going through shifts where there are friendships or connections that no longer serve you. So there are things that are being removed at this time so that you can change as an individual for your greatest good. Hey Taurus Moon or Taurus Ascendant, thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this, feel free to leave a like as well as a comment. If you are new to this channel, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, and I will see you all in the next video. For those of you with a Gemini Moon or Gemini Ascendant, this will be a lunar eclipse taking place in your 12th house. And so there's a lot to work through on a deep psychological level. This 12th house, of course, is a house of the unknown, of the mysteries, of the subconscious. And so this is definitely taking you into a deeper place of looking at yourself at a subconscious level, making these intense inner changes. And as this lunar eclipse is taking place on the opposite side, of course, we will see this Sun, K2, Mercury combo taking place in your 6th house. And so this can be a very dramatic shift that can have an impact on your health. And so this is definitely a time to pay close attention to your mental health, to any sort of stressors coming up and managing this properly, using proper coping skills. There's a lot coming up here in terms of your work life and your spiritual life and your balance in life and how you can manage and cope with all of this. Hey Gemini Moon or Gemini Ascendant, thanks so much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed this. If you like this, feel free to leave a like as well as a comment. If you are new to this channel, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, and I will see you all in the next video. For those of you with a Cancer Moon or Cancer Ascendant, this will be a lunar eclipse taking place in your 11th house. This can be a big time of unexpected gains and support coming through this 11th house. At the same time, this can be an unexpected time of friendships and deals coming to a close. We have this Sun, K2, Mercury, very intense combination happening there in your 5th house on the opposite end of this. And so this is definitely a time to work on your creativity, your skills, your talents, to tap into your past life connections and your natural capabilities. There's a lot that is shifting and changing here dramatically within your social networks and within the support that you're getting through your career. Hey Cancer Moon or Cancer Ascendant, and thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this, feel free to leave a like as well as a comment. If you are new to this channel, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, and I will see you all in the next video. For those of you with a Leo Moon or Leo Ascendant, this will be a lunar eclipse taking place in your 10th house. This can be a time of dramatic changes within the career space. This can be a big time where you can see some rises and falls here in your career. This can also be a time where you can experience some great success in this area, but also some very intense changes that are moving you into things that are more suited for you, that are more aligned with your soul calling, especially as we have this Sun, K2, Mercury combo taking place in your 4th house. This is moving you back to your roots, moving you back to what is in your heart space here in this 4th house, and ultimately moving you back into what is comfortable and nurturing, what brings you the most happiness and fulfillment with this huge activation of your 4th house. Hey Leo Moon or Leo Ascendant, and thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this, feel free to leave a like as well as a comment. If you are new to this channel, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, and I will see you all in the next video. For those of you with a Virgo Moon or Virgo Ascendant, this will be a lunar eclipse taking place in your 9th house. This is a great time to follow your intuition. As this moon comes into the 9th house, this is hugely activating this 9th house of learning, of wisdom, of experience. And keeping in mind that the moon there is controlling your 11th house, where there is a lot of experience and opportunity to gain through elders and through your overall experience and opportunities. So this is a great time to be open and to follow your intuition through at this time. This is definitely a time where a lot is going to be shifting and changing for you as we have this Sun, K2, Mercury combo taking place in the 3rd house. That is a hugely changeable house where there's a lot that is shifting and happening here that is leading you towards trusting in yourself more, developing your ego a little bit more, having a bit more confidence here is a huge theme for many of you. And this is something that we covered in your monthly horoscope. So if you have not checked that out, make sure to take a look over at that monthly horoscope. It will give you more information on this huge shift that is taking place that is geared towards your confidence and self-esteem. Hey Virgo moon or Virgo ascendant, and thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this, feel free to leave a like as well as a comment. If you are new to this channel, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, and I will see you all in the next video. For those of you with a Libra moon or Libra ascendant, this will be a lunar eclipse taking place in your 8th house, very intense. This is a time of dramatic shifts and changes taking place, a lot of unexpected events, especially as this is a lunar eclipse, but even more so that this is a lunar eclipse with Rahu, and this is happening in your 8th house of sudden transformations. This can be a big time of receiving some wealth or success through your career as well. The moon, of course, is controlling your 10th house of career, and this 8th house is also a big money house. This is a very dramatic time of shifts and changes in your wealth and your resources, as we have this Sun-Mercury K2 combo on the opposite end of this in your 2nd house, which is also another money house. So huge focus here on your career, on your security, and on your wealth at this time. Hey Libra moon or Libra ascendant, and thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this, feel free to leave a like as well as a comment. If you are new to this channel, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, and I will see you all in the next video. For those of you with a Scorpio moon or Scorpio ascendant, this will be a lunar eclipse taking place in your 7th house. And so partnerships get hugely highlighted, but at this time, you can receive some news or information through those who you are connected to, especially as the moon is controlling that 9th house of education, higher wisdom, and experience. You can get some great knowledge coming in through your relationships with other people. This lunar eclipse also is opposing your 1st house, which means it has a profound effect on you as an individual. This Sun K2 Mercury combo is happening here in your 1st house, where there's some dramatic shifts and changes happening with your identity and your individualism. A lot of you looking at things that need to be changed and worked through, especially as Mercury sits there in the 1st house and controlling your 8th house and 11th house. Dramatic ups and downs all the way through in your personality and your experience. Lots of things that are being changed and looked at through your partnerships and connections. It's having a dramatic effect on you and the course of your life. Hey Scorpio moon or Scorpio ascendant, and thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this, feel free to leave a like as well as a comment. If you are new to this channel, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, and I will see you all in the next video. For those of you with a Sagittarius moon or Sagittarius ascendant, this will be a lunar eclipse taking place in your 6th house. This is a very intense place for a lunar eclipse to take place. This will be happening in opposition to your 12th house. So there's a lot going on here health-wise, as far as improvement, as far as working on adjustments and changes that are serving you for your highest, greatest good. So there's a lot here to look at internally as this comes into the 6th house. The Sun, K2, Mercury are there on the opposite end back in your 12th house, where there is a lot here to look at internally, to look at on a deeper level. This can be a great time for meditation, a great time for self-reflection going inward. This lunar eclipse is definitely going to create a lot of dramatic effects of areas that need to be improved and adjusted. Anything that has been procrastinated or delayed at this time, you can see some radical shifts in this area. And of course, the moon is a very difficult planet for those of you with a Sag moon, Sag ascendant, as this is controlling your 8th house of sudden events. So many of you are going through very deep psychological, emotional shifts and changes internally at this time. Hey Sagittarius moon or Sagittarius ascendant, Thanks so much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed this. If you like this, feel free to leave a like as well as a comment. If you are new to this channel, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, and I will see you all in the next video. For those of you with a Capricorn moon or Capricorn ascendant, this will be a lunar eclipse taking place in your 5th house. And so this is a great time of tapping into your creativity, to your natural talents. This can be a very chaotic time in any sort of speculation or any sort of romance. Anything that involves taking risk at this time, you want to be very cautious of, as this lunar eclipse is sitting with Rahu, which is very unpredictable coming into this 5th house, where you can find yourself into some difficult situations by taking chances. This will also sit opposite to the Sun, K2, and Mercury, which sit there in your 11th house. So this is putting a huge spotlight on all of your creative talents and gifts, and how that can have a huge impact here in your social networks and your career. So this is a very good position. The moon here, of course, is controlling your 7th house, which puts a huge spotlight on your career and how you are seen in the public. And so all of your gifts, your knowledge, your talents, your skills is something to tap into at this time. Hey Capricorn moon or Capricorn ascendant, thanks so much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed this. If you like this, feel free to leave a like as well as a comment. If you are new to this channel, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, and I will see you all in the next video. For those of you with an Aquarius moon or Aquarius ascendant, you will see a full moon lunar eclipse take place here in your 4th house. This is a very prominent Kendra house, so this is having a huge effect on you individually. As this lunar eclipse comes into the 4th house, there can be a lot of sudden changes and events where it's difficult to find stability at this time. That 4th house, of course, is your home space, your peace, your state of mind. And with this lunar eclipse coming in here, especially with Rahu, this can be a very unstable time of lots of changes, lots of suddenness that is out of your control. Now we will see the Sun, K2, Mercury taking place on the opposite end in your 10th house. So this is very good for your career, for your public image, for your profession, as we have these planets taking place up in this 10th house, where you can do very well in this area. But internally, on an emotional level, you can see a lot of fluctuation, a lot of sudden changes taking place. The moon, of course, is controlling your 6th house already, which is making it a very difficult planet, where many of you can experience a lot of sensitivity at this time. A lot of frustration and worry can come up as this energy comes in here. Rahu, of course, is your co-ruler, so you are very familiar with this energy of this stirring up of this anxiety and this mental agony. A lot that is coming up at this time that needs to be addressed in terms of your health and your stability. Hey Aquarius moon or Aquarius ascendant, thanks so much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed this. If you like this, feel free to leave a like as well as a comment. If you are new to this channel, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, and I will see you all in the next video. For those of you with a Pisces moon or Pisces ascendant, this will be a lunar eclipse taking place here in your 3rd house. And the moon is a very prominent planet in your chart, of course, as it controls your 5th house. And so this is definitely a time of tapping into your confidence in your self-expression and your creative abilities. And a lot of shifts and changes that are taking place to get you more into a space of your self-esteem and confidence. Very similar here to what we saw with Virgo. We will see the Sun, K2, and Mercury in a combo here in your 9th house, where this is all about tapping into your wisdom, your gifts, your talents, your skills, and being open to explore more options at this time. Many of you can come off as someone who is very skilled in terms of your communication, in terms of your delivery, of how you are giving information and wisdom off to others. So this is a very profound lunar eclipse here that is helping you in terms of your approach with the world and the collective. There can be some situations of conflict coming up here for those of you who have siblings, as this third house is especially attached to the younger siblings. So you can see some potential turmoil and conflict here in your connections with your siblings. Even some distance here as Rahu comes into this third house. Hey Pisces moon or Pisces ascendant, and thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this, feel free to leave a like as well as a comment. If you are new to this channel, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, and I will see you all in the next video.